And welcome to Joburg today. My name is Riley Hlakanyiposakwe. If you'll be one of those people who are still in Joburg during this festive season, then take a look at the following stories and they just might inspire you to go out and have some fun.
Welcome to the African Christmas experience. Enjoy.
It's that time of the year when family and friends gather in the spirit of Christmas to share love, laughter, and good times.
It's beginning to look a lot like
You know what? There is nothing more beautiful wherever you are around the world than lights. I believe, I believe in the fact that light is better than darkness, and this really just sort of represents just the beauty of what it is, and the fact that I think it's obviously, it's different colors, it's different themes. It really showcases our country, South Africa, and just the rainbow nation that we are, and that we are actually a nation of light.
is the holly that will be on your own.
When people come to the Melrose Arch Centre and they experience the lights and it becomes something that everybody looks forward to, it gives the whole shopping centre a heart. So many beautiful centres are built, but they have no soul. And I think what the lights do is they bring heart and soul to what are bricks and mortar, and they make people feel like they matter. I'll tell you why it's important to turn on a light. Because there's so many negative things that are going on around us, and you can equate negativeness and darkness, right? Whereas if you light a match or if you light a candle in the midst of that darkness, all of a sudden the darkness lifts and the light permeates everywhere. So when you turn on Christmas lights in the heart of a shopping centre, in the heart of Johannesburg, you forget about all the darkness. You bring light into the lives of everyday people, and in particular into the lives of children.
Right within your heart.
When we sat down and thought about our Christmas lights and Christmas destination, we always had it in mind that we're going to continue as long as Melrose Arch is here. So we want to grow it. We already got plans next year to light up other areas, but let's talk about this year more importantly. We're going to be switching on. We switched on the lights tonight. It's been a great evening for us. It's the start of what we call our festive season. With that comes a whole host of entertainment. We've got ballet. We've got little toy soldiers. So who knows? It's just going to be a great time. And it's all about just community and people coming out, enjoying Melrose Arch, having a great time, gelling, talking to each other, and the spirit of the festive season.
There's more darkness, when it's cold. So to have these lights on just as the African sun goes down and these lights come on, it's magic, absolute magic.
It's enlightening, it's exciting for the kids. It's her first time actually acknowledging Christmas, what's coming up. So it's been very nice, very, very nice.
My Christmas wish to all of it and everybody who's listening in is just stop and share a smile. It's amazing what a gift a smile is. Whether you're smiling at that person who's knocking on your car window at a street corner who needs your help, or whether it's somebody who's working in your business, or whether it's just your mother or your father or your brother, your sister, just smile. You'll be amazed at how much a smile can achieve.
One in the park as well. It's the sturdy kind that doesn't mind the snow.
I think it was so unexpected, but it looks absolutely amazing. It just made me miss my family because I'm in Joburg without them. So I just can't wait to go home. It just reminded me of family and Christmas and that season, of happiness and love.
The carol that you sing right.
This is my first time in Melrose at this time, festive season. So it was quite unexpected. I actually love it. It's so beautiful and people are here with their family. And it makes you quite excited for Christmas.
Once more.
A large part of Christmas is all about the gifts, and a great timepiece can go a long way as a memorable token of appreciation.
When I was a little boy, I had a madness for watches. When I was 5 and 6, already there was a madness. My mother used to take me to town, and we had to stop in front of all the watch shops. My family was in jewelry, I was a good jeweler for years, but watches was my passion. And 30 years in the business, I still get so excited about buying a rare watch. With my understanding of watches, I also love new watches, second-hand watches, and vintage watches. And vintage watches is also exciting because that was stuff that was made, let's say, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. And some of it is such incredible quality that it can't be made today. And there's a lot of sense in second-hand timepieces. I mean, ideally it's supposed to work that these watches that I deal in are great quality. They plan to last 30 and 40 and 50 years. So if you buy a wristwatch that's 3 years old, well, you've got another 27 years to play with it. At the moment, we're dealing with market shortages of certain watches, which is creating unnecessarily spikes in the markets. So there's certain watches that are not available from the shop. You have to go onto a waiting list, or you have to pay a premium, which is a strange scenario. It shouldn't be there, but it's existing at the moment, and it's creating a lot of havoc in the market. It is a temporary thing. Watches are trading high at the moment, and it shouldn't be able to continue because the manufacturers of these watches would rather it didn't.
So will people ever fall out of love with wristwatches?
I wonder. I'm obviously, I've spent my life doing it. I'm very invested in watches. Most kids are seeing their fathers wearing either a running watch or an Apple Watch or a computer on their arm. I think mostly the next generation is going to be totally unaware of watches, and I think that'll narrow the market. There's always those fellows that Dad wore a Patek Philippe, I'll wear a Patek Philippe, and my grandson will. But I think in the general market, I think the market will narrow. I don't know if 30 years' time our children will have the same passion that people are having today. Just because they aren't around as much. You don't see, there was a time that everyone wore a mechanical watch. Now, I would say 80% of people don't, or 85% don't. So in time it may go the way of fountain pens or ox wagons. But for now, we're trading like crazy and having fun.
That said, how does one start his or her own watch collection?
Some guys who just love the aesthetics, there's some guys who love the mechanics, there's some guys that love military, there's some guys that only like one particular brand. So work out where you want to go. I mean, Omega is so colorful. Omega's got watches that went to the moon, and watches that went on spacewalks, watches for divers, watches that James Bond wore. There's a whole series of exciting Omegas. Panerai is a great brand that, interesting, was all about the Italian Navy in World War II. They were a terrible navy. They sunk their own ships. They dived overboard. But Panerai is a great brand, and it's a celebration of the Italian Navy. They make beautiful watches. They bought correctly, they hold a value. In other words, buy a good quality second-hand Panerai at half its price, or 60 cents in the rand, and you're buying it well. Go with that. I suppose start on the internet, start learning what there is out there. Work out what you love, what your passion is.
The customization of sneakers is a pretty big deal. With social media, it has made the community smaller. We have a lot of access to people who are doing more of what we've been doing for a while. And what we do see is there is a demand, not just from us, but from other artists. Because when you're online, when you're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you're able to see other artists who are doing what we're doing or something similar, and on a consistent basis, which tells us that the market is much bigger than when we first started out. It's popular amongst young and old, simply because people don't like to conform. You know, people want to be different. They want to be unique. People from all walks of life have tattoos. You know, like from a major corporation CEO to somebody who works security or janitor, they all have tattoos, and they do that because they want to be different. They want to represent themselves differently. And what we do in terms of customizing, we look at it like we tattoo artists for shoes, we tattoo artists for denim jackets, caps. That's how we look at it, because we're creating art, and our art speaks to people who want to be different, who want to represent themselves differently, to bring out their own personality in their items, mainly sneakers, jackets, murals, the works. What the pandemic has done, it has forced us to look at things differently. We used to use the online space as a secondary tool, you know, where when it comes to business, we use that to communicate, but then the end goal is to actually meet up in person and everything. But during the pandemic and after the pandemic, we've moved away from that because of obvious reasons. So I personally feel that it's actually been a blessing in disguise, because we've been able to move from a very dark, dire situation where everybody was just where they felt as if it's the end of days, to actually getting the biggest opportunity we've had since we've started in terms of collaborating with a brand. The reason we're here today is because of what we did during the height of lockdown. We were pushing content every day, even when nobody was ordering anything. All of that we were still pushing, which is actually something we had moved away from. But now, during the pandemic, we were able to streamline that process and actually focus on that. And it's the reason we're here today is because of what we did during the height of lockdown.
Hi, I'm Danny Glover, and you're watching Joburgtoday.
Veganism is a growing trend, and for those relatives who don't eat meat, Oomph has some great ideas to make sure they're not left out in the cold.
Cooking, then you can make it happen.
But I mean, I love my meat, and honestly,
look, you're gonna change perspective.
You reckon?
Like, trust me.
Oh wow.
The more and more I did all the recipes, and I got in touch with it, and I cooked with Oomph, I have to say it is one of the best products to convert anyone who's a meat lover like you to actually start considering it, creating that balance.
So if you haven't seen it already, Maps and Chef Mbombi's exciting new journey is being documented on social media weekly. In the first week, contestants discuss their veggie-inspired dishes and are encouraged to share a photo of their first meal together. In the second week, the adopters share a veggie-inspired meal with their adopted carnivore. In week 3, the adopters in the teams will share specific recipes with each other. And finally, in week 4, the carnivores will have to prepare a veggie meal for their adopters to taste and comment on. I'm actually looking forward to getting in this challenge, because to be honest, it was the first time for me hearing about Oomph. Do I take it that Pick n Pay and Chickas are like one of your top spots to go and get this Oomph, or?
You'll get it in retail stores, and I think the more accessible it will be, the more easier for everyone to actually grab it and create something beautiful with it.
In addition to the fun of getting your carnivore to eat their greens and watching the influencers do their thing, Oomph is also adding a competition element to the challenge.
Stop. Then 5-6 minutes, the sandwich is done. This is what you get.
Quick, eh?
Right? You want to take a bite?
Honestly, I don't even know if I should just jump into it or be ladylike, but there's no time for ladylike when food looks so good.
Right?
Are you sure this is not meat?
Nah, I'm sure.
amazing.
It's beautiful. Easy.
No, I think you need to try it at home and tell me if this does not taste like meat. This is going to be a debate of the battle. I must say, I did say to you that I am so ready for this challenge, and this challenge is so worth it. If you know that you love your meat, you definitely have to try this oomph product. Absolutely amazing.
For those who've been gifted with a fine whiskey, why not wash down the Christmas lunch the proper way?
Whiskey etiquette, how to enjoy your whiskey. I mean, I can't tell you when to enjoy your whiskey because you drink whiskey at whatever, time you like. But personally, I would have 1 or 2 whiskeys, after dinner. And the best glass for me would be something like this. This is called the Glencairn glass. The wider bottom helps air circulate into the bottom of the glass and then draws out the aromas of your whiskey to the top of the glass, where now you have the narrow top. This is where then we nose the whiskey from. So we will nose whiskey, and then from there, we will consider the color of the whiskey, because the color of the whiskey tells us a little bit about where the whiskey sat during maturation. And unlike, a shooter, you sip whiskey. You don't shoot it back, because you want to appreciate the flavors that are in the whiskey. And now we're going to talk about the traditional whiskey glass, or the tumbler. This is mainly used, when you want to add ice to your whiskey. And then the downside to using this glass is that you do not get to nose your whiskey properly. And once you add ice, the whiskey actually closes up, and then you're not getting, the full aromas of your whiskey. So the problem here is not water or dilution. The problem is temperature. Ice will shock the whiskey, but when you add a splash of water, what you're basically doing is you're letting the lighter nuances that were being masked by the alcohol to come through, to shine. So water is good for your whiskey, and ice not so much. So we will consider the color of the whiskey, because the color of the whiskey tells us about where the whiskey sat during maturation. This particular whiskey was exclusively matured in Oloroso sherry casks, and those casks will usually be red oak casks, and they give off more of the darker color into the whiskey. And that also depends on how many times the cask has been used, because the more the cask gets used, the less color it will give off to whiskey. Some whiskeys that will come matured in American oak casks, these tend to have more of that golden straw or honey color, because white oak does not have the amount of tannin that you get from red oak. So the color of the whiskey sometimes becomes a problem to new whiskey drinkers, because when they find a whiskey looking this light, they will not buy it because they are used to the darker whiskeys. But the interesting thing is that there is a caramel colorant that is permitted in whiskey production, and that is used mainly to keep consistency in color between batches. This is some single malt scotch that was exclusively bottled for this establishment, limited to 576 bottles, and bottled at a beautiful 58.9%. So we are tasting, so we're not gonna pour too much. And I mean, it's whiskey. The goal is not to finish the whole bottle. The goal is to enjoy the whiskey. Have a conversation with your glass. Sip, savor, enjoy the whiskey. Nose the whiskey. Let those aromas take you back to your childhood or wherever, because certain whiskey aromas or certain aromas in our lives, will invoke certain memories, So nose the whiskey. What is it that you're picking up that you're familiar with? You don't really need to use very big words. Are there any fruits that you're picking up? Is there any toffee? Is there any vanilla? Is there any honey? What is it that you're familiar with? You know, and then from there, you know, you're gonna take a sip. Move the whiskey around your mouth because different parts of your mouth will pick up different flavors. And then the texture of the whiskey is also very important when it comes to tasting whiskey. So we will consider the texture of whiskey when we're tasting whiskey. And then lastly, the finish. How long does that whiskey last in your mouth after you've swallowed? You know, does it linger longer? Does it have a long finish? Does it have a medium finish? Or does it just disappear? You know, from just looking at those glass, you know, you can see the whiskey is actually clinging to the sides of the glass. That tells you a lot about the viscosity of the liquid. So right now, I actually know that once I take a sip, this whiskey is just gonna coat my palate, and then it's just gonna linger, you know. Cheers. And remember, drink responsibly.
Hey guys, this is Dale from Prime Circle and you're watching Joburg Today.
To end off on a high note, you can enjoy some fun in the sun at Happy Island Water World and Gold Reef City, perfect for the whole family.
So Tim Hoggins, who is one of the co-owners, found this area and he felt that there is a need for a water park in the Joburg area, since if you want to go out to a water park you need to drive far, and that is when he contacted Mr. He that assists him with his GOG lifestyle to set up the water park here in Joburg. So the challenges that we did have was the ticketing, that people had to stand in long queues.
I'm happy with what I'm seeing, but obviously more tubes needed.
I must say that we fixed that. Another challenge we had was the tube queues. We fixed that. So as the complaints go in, we really do want that so that we can better the experience. So what they can expect is awesome rides that we don't have in South Africa, like the terrifying Typhoon. It's a 20-meter high slide that 4 people go down at once, and you literally spiral down like a tractor. Then we have 2 wave pools, not one. It's the biggest waves in South Africa as well. So yes, we do. We have a lot of people from Pretoria coming through. I was born in Potchefstroom. I've seen a lot of my friends here. We're even getting overseas tourists visiting the park as well.
Happy Island Water World attracts more than 500 people in a single day. Friends and family can come unwind from Tuesdays to Sundays.
I'm hoping to have a good time because I've heard a lot about the place. I've heard it's the best water park in South Africa and the biggest, so I'm hoping to have lots of fun. Well, it's actually amazing because we've got a lot of water parks, but they're not that great. They're not as great, but now new experiences, new people, get to meet new people as well and have lots of fun in a bigger place. Yeah.
I've only been to Sun City, so this is amazing for me. It's something South Africa definitely needs. We have Gold Reef, but we need something with more water, something for the kids to have fun at, a nice day out. What more could you ask for? I'm expecting fun, adrenaline, lots of things, hopefully no rain, but the sun is out and I'm excited. Got to get these boys scared on some of these rides. Woohoo!
So I will be going on those slides over there. I feel so excited. I've never been here before. I'm going on this one over here. Here with my cousins and my family, and we're gonna have an awesome time.
Hi, Joburg Today.
Hi, I'm Fransje van Coke from Van Coke Cartel, and you're watching Joburg Today.
Gold Reef City has long been one of Joburg's premier entertainment venues. The amusement park is one of the city's premier summer attractions.
Well, Gold Reef City is basically a theme park that's been built around a historical mining town. A lot of history surrounds this place. The whole of Johannesburg almost developed around Gold Reef City. This is one of the first mining areas within the country. Gold Reef City has grown into a fantastic precinct.
The Gold Reef Precinct has numerous restaurants, the Apartheid Museum, and of course, the Gold Reef Casino and Resort. The resort has the casino and the theme park with over 40 rides and attractions.
We came to make our social science syllabus more, to have fun and to just explore. The Tower of Terror, that was the most fun one.
It was a school trip and I wanted to enjoy it with my friends and everyone. My favorite ride has been the Minus Revenge and the UFO because it makes me dizzy and yes, I enjoy it.
Well, it's a family entertainment destination. Children, adults alike love it. It's just a fantastic experience that you can't get anywhere else in the world.
Our crew enjoyed our visit, and even though one of us acted like they were in a Shakespearean death scene on a couple of rides, the experience was a success, and I will be returning when I have a free day this summer. I'm Samuel Gebhardt for Joburg Today.
Hi, I'm Mpo Pops Mudikwani, and you're watching Joburg Today. Not yesterday, to die. You die, to die.
And from us at Joburg Today, have a Merry, Merry Christmas.
What's your content fix? Is it tourism and entertainment, lifestyle, health and fitness? Perhaps it's current affairs or just business. For the best local content, live and on demand, watch it anywhere, on any device. You'll find it all right here on Joburg Today. Essential, relevant, authentic.